Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And this is a short live stream that's pretty much going to be a recorded video about American Gods Season 2, Episode 2, The Beguiling Man, which is the Charmed Man. I can barely pronounce that word, but it's by Neil Gaiman. He's a smart guy. So, American Gods has returned after 2 years. We are on the second episode, and I'm liking it a lot. I'm liking it as much as I like season 1. I'll just put that right out there. It's moving just like the book does, and I will be getting into spoiler territory. I don't have my spoiler sign with me. You're just going to have to trust me. Just a brief recap of what basically I thought of it. So, we have Shadow. We had the big meeting of gods last week where Wednesday was trying to call everybody to war, and most of the gods weren't having it at all. The ones that did show up. And this is from the events of last season because the old gods in America are threatened by the new gods. And of course, the old gods all rely on worship, and they've been pretty much reduced to humans at this point. Now, many of them they're in human form. They can die, but they can also be resurrected, but it's also based on belief. So if there's nobody left to believe in you, then you die. So we have the old gods, and there's, man, I don't have time to get into the deep history of this, but these are, some of these gods are partial gods. We'll just say that. And some of them are not full gods. We have a leprechaun. We have Mad Sweeney, who's my favorite character. Of course, we have the dead wife, Laura, and then we have Shadow Moon, who is the enigma in all this. Like, we don't know what is so special about him. Obviously, there is something special. We can probably suspect who he is, but nobody's come out and said it. And of course, there will be no book spoilers in this. So after the meeting of the gods, Baba Yaga, or whatever her name is, I can't say her name, was assassinated. Cloris Leachman's character was assassinated, and this galvanized the gods to go to war reluctantly. And is it Vishnu? The maid, the Indian god who's the maid, had the best line. She's like, I guess I'm gonna have to go back to chopping off heads and drinking blood and freeing souls as long as I could switch my shift this weekend with Ajin, which was a great line. Shadow, of course, was taken by Mr. World. In turn, Mr. Town has him, and you might recognize Mr. Town because he's the mayhem guy in the insurance commercials, and he was also in the Sarah Connor Chronicles, a great short-lived television show. He is torturing Shadow, trying to figure out what exactly Mr. Wednesday wants with him, because as we suspect, there is something up with him, but we're not sure because he looks like a big nobody. And one of the many reasons I identify with the character of Shadow is, well, hey, not knowing my real dad, being called a bastard when I was a kid. I was called that a lot. And you know what? I am a bastard, and I'm proud to be one. Me and Jon Snow and Shadow. So Shadow's being tortured, and while he's being tortured, we get to see the story of his past. We could see Shadow's mom and how she had kind of traveled the world with him, and they were only supposed to be in America for 1 year. And America is this godforsaken country that was terrible. I know, God, it's such a terrible country that we get to have like awesome, really expensive television shows telling us how terrible this country is. What a great country, right? So, but with the story, it's pretty good. She tells him a pretty good message. She's like, hey, there's going to be some bad people, but you want to turn that around. You want to make it your strength, which was, it's a decent message. There were some bad messages in there, but I come to expect that from everything from Hollywood nowadays. So thank you for the super chat, Peter Davison. Truth in fiction. There is truth in fiction. So, we basically see Shadow's mom die, unfortunately, and he's kind of left in the world alone because she is all he has. We have one little scene where he possibly met his dad or somebody who we think is his dad playing with a coin. I'm sure we can all guess who that is. But the main thing about this story, the main reason I like it is, and this might be the reason why some might want to dip out on it, because it's not going to be a big battle of gods. You're not going to see any big major Game of Thrones type of battles. This is a road trip show, a road trip movie, a road trip TV show. It's about tripping across the little towns of America with the old gods and the new gods. We had a pretty good scene with Technical Boy trying to call out media. Media is reformatting, which I like. That's a good way to get rid of Gillian Anderson, and they're going to probably turn her into new media, which is a great idea. And actually, that's something I brought up last season. I'm like, well, the media they're presenting right now is not really that powerful, but the new media is. So that's what it's turning into, and I think that's a good move. And we haven't seen her yet. We saw a quick scene with Bilquist and Mr. World. Bilquist is not going to fight for him, and Mr. World just says, well, if you're not going to fight for them or for me, you might get trampled by both of us, and that was a cool little scene. And then my favorite part was Mad Sweeney and Laura on the road trip going after Shadow. Now she could see Shadow's light. There's a lot of reference to Shadow's light by his mother. That has something to do with what he is. That light actually exists. And Laura is Mad Sweeney and her. This is a big change from the book, and a very good change. By the way, Laura is done much better in the TV show than she is in the book. In the book, she's pretty much a horrible person. And she's still kind of a horrible person, but there's something somewhat redeemable in her. And there's definitely something redeemable in Mad Sweeney as well. And they actually make a much better couple than Laura and Shadow did, to be honest with you. They have way more chemistry. And Mad Sweeney, basically, they run out of road and they're after Shadow. So what he does is he teleports her through his hoard, which is where he hides all his gold, and they squeeze through that, and they find out where Mr. Town is. Mr. Town is torturing Shadow in a train. They jump on the train. Laura does her Laura thing, which is tearing people apart, literally. And again, this is turning into a bit of a trope, but I got to admit that Neil Gaiman had done this first. This was from years ago when he did it in the book, but the little girl with the, massive, Hulk strength, but it's done very well. And was it Emily Brown, the one from Sucker Punch? And that's a movie that I have PTSD from because I worked on it on the Blu-ray. I was a pre-mastering technician on it, and I saw the end of that movie like 300 times, and I just never, ever want to even hear about it again. But she's good in this. So they find Shadow, but they use this really well. They use the torture scene. It must have sucked to shoot this. Ricky Whittle was just hanging up the whole time, and we got to see Shadow's past. We got to meet some of the other players, especially with Mr. World. We got a little bit of time with Mr. Wednesday. He sacrificed his car, so it'll turn into his spear. What is the spear's name? Gungnir. I got to get back up. I got to get caught up on my lore a little bit here, but it was a very enjoyable episode. I've got to say that I am enjoying the pacing this season a lot more than I did last season. Last season was visually stunning. It was surreal. I do miss the little intros where you meet new gods. That I kind of miss that, but the episodes move so much better so far. It's only 2, don't get me wrong, but they move a little more. So I might be I wasn't on the side of Neil Gaiman getting rid of Brian Fuller, but now I'm like, I'm seeing the difference now, and I think I'm kind of liking it. So, when a series takes 2 years off, I didn't check the ratings, and I don't have the time to check now, but I will check. I want to get to the chat real quick. But I am enjoying it more. I am. I really am down. So I will consider leaving this video up. We'll see how it does. So I'll leave it on the channel and we'll see how people respond to this. And I am going to be doing it every week. It's a little early today because of Exozone. What we're going to do is we're going to do 25-minute reviews, but I want to hear from you because you are the co-host on these things, and then I'll leave them up. This is kind of what we've done all along on the channel, and haven't done one of these in a while. I don't want to get out of the habit of it because I do enjoy these quite a bit. Sometimes, though, these can affect the algorithm, and we got to think about that. Let's go to the chat real quick. But good thumbs up on this episode. And yeah, what's up? Price is Right review. Matthew Matson, love American Gods. Didn't care for the political stuff with his mom, but it was fine. Yeah, okay. There's one message that I did not like when, and I'm sure moms tell this to their kids. And again, I am, as people constantly point out, because I somehow I forget by not looking in the mirror, I'm a white dude. So, whatever. So I don't know what their experience was, but their experience wasn't the American experience because they're not from America. So she had traveled the world, not really lived here very long. So she probably had the European, like the French European point of view. But that's not what it was meant to be. It was supposed to be a political message, guys, basically for people with different color skin. This is a bad country to be in. I disagree. Okay. We aren't perfect like no other country is. I don't know why we're held up to this, huge ideal. We're a country filled with individual people who think individually. And some people think like assholes. Certainly. That's not exclusive to this country. So that being said, just mind you that this is a show that cost millions of dollars that's being produced with grown adults pretending, saying that this is a bad country. So come on, little perspective. That's all I'm saying. Certainly some bad shit has happened and some bad shit will happen. But overall, we get a good TV show because this country, there's some surplus there, we'll say. I believe in you too, Philip A. Demick. Honestly, don't get American Gods since we are in a country of different cultures. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how this plays out internationally. Price is Right reviews. That's a good question. Oh, and this is told from the English perspective on America. So this is an Englishman traveling through America, and Neil Gaiman freely admits that. And Neil Gaiman certainly has a elitist perspective on the world. He's a rich man who gets to go do what he wants when he wants to. Probably not a lot of people tell him no. So that is a position of, shall we say, privilege? Okay. Where the most privilege comes from economic privilege, and we all know that. All hail Nerdrotic, the Irish American god of the beavers. Yes, the beaver god. Dead wife. She is my fave. She is great. I'm a Mad Sweeney guy because, I just like, I don't know. I like salt of the earth. He's a salt of the earth god for salt of the earth people. Gary, did you see any of my tweets asking about the blue, gray, and red Section 31 Star Trek uniforms? No, I didn't, Mark. I haven't been on Twitter today. I think I liked a couple of tweets, but that's just because the notifications come up. But I'm not going to be on Twitter until after the Exozone. I've been recording a video all day that I'm not going to put out until the morning now. I changed my mind. Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way. Thanks. I'll read the books. There is one book. It's pretty good. I will say, but it's about characters. This is just a character-driven story. It's really not about what they're moving towards. It's about getting to know each character and where they come from. And honestly, the show fleshes out some of them much better. And thank you for the $5 Australian super chat, Peter Davison. Say hello to Mum for me. Shadow is Doomcock. Maybe. Hey, mate, love to see you live streaming again. Hey, Philomax, I'm glad to be back, and I will be live streaming right after this. There'll be like a 15-minute break in between. I'm keeping an eye on the clock here. Fleet Admiral Beekler. Hey, you spelled my last name right. Hey, Neurotic, you look familiar. Yeah, don't I? Just a little bit. Sith Lord Luke Skywalker. It could have been better. It could have been worse. Gungnir. Thank you, Vinny Anderson. Gungnir. That is right. I'm probably saying it wrong still. I thought it was supposed to be I thought Spear was supposed to be Zeitgeist. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not fully I'm not up on my mythology right now. I should be though. Thanks to turning me on to some awesome sci-fi. Mary Freeman, you are welcome. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I do try to be solution based here. There's some crappy TV shows, but there's some really good ones. And unfortunately, the really good ones aren't on yet, except for American Gods. Now, I don't know if Game of Thrones is going to be really good. We can hope so, but I know The Expanse will be. Exozone is coming next, Mark Lazarth. It starts in about 20 minutes. You have FP Sony. I got bad eyesight. Yeah, me too. I mean, can't you tell? Look at these glasses. I love the fight scene with Young Shadow. It annoyed me at the kid who was helping didn't help out. He was probably scared. Hey Gary, Star Trek Discovery is good. By the way, I got my Spore drive to work. By the way, I got to check out. I got to check out American Gods. It says Action Hero. I'm glad you got your Spore drive to work. Maybe you can go back in time and hire some better writers for that TV show. Neil is worth around 18 million. What a popper. My Spore drive exploded. Now there's mold all over the garage. Technically, there are 2 Anansi boys in the universe. Yes, according to the books. Philomax, curious, could you put on the website sci-fi shows worth watching, as my TV shows that I watch are getting a little thin? Yeah, I can even do a video. I can do a video recommending good shows. In the words of, oh boy, Shergarath, Derek, God of Madness, cheese for everyone. Is that chess for everyone? Is that supposed to say cheese? Shazam is the cure for Captain Marvel. It is. It is. When did STD start fighting Skynet? Last episode, Dave Bob. Last episode. You could change up the font size on the menu, upper right hand side. I do bump it up. Is that it's better than I'm close. It actually is better for my camera. I was noticing last night that my live streams are looking kind of crappy lately, and I'm kind of wondering why. I think it might be my computer, or my son watching YouTube while I'm live streaming. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up there. I got through the chat. Let me make sure I didn't get to any. So I'm gonna keep this video up and see how it does. And if not, if it doesn't do well, I'm gonna unlist it. But that means it'll be available on Patreon. So everything's going to be on Patreon. We're going to do some Patreon exclusives. I'm going to start up the watch parties again on Patreon. So we're going to be watching American Gods. We'll be watching The Expanse, and we're going to start watching Star Trek Discovery as well. So yeah. And I will do that, Philomax. I'll put on the website sci-fi shows that are good. I find this show to be entertaining. It's only 2 episodes in. It is not for everybody. It is one of those shows, kind of like Legion. It's a little surreal, so it's not for everybody. I hope I keep it up too, Matthew Matson. All right, everybody. If you're waiting for the Exozone, if you're watching this just as an American Gods review, the Exozone is like a weird UFO show that I do every couple of weeks with my friend Doomcock. Check it out on our channels. Please like, share, and subscribe. Go to nerdrotic.com for our live stream schedule. And everybody have a great day, and may the small folks sing songs of your greatness.